Now, let's look at those questions. The first one is negative, and then absolute value of negative 2 over 5. We know the absolute value of negative 2 over 5, this absolute value is positive 2 over 5. But there is a negative in front of this absolute value, so the final answer is negative. So here we did is we first do the absolute value, which gives us positive, this value, positive. And then there was a negative in front of it, so you keep it. Then the final answer would be negative 2 over 5, would be this one. This question 6 is totally different from question 9 in our assignment. In our assignment, question 9 is negative parenthesis negative 11. Here is absolute value. What's the meaning for negative 9? We know negative 11 and positive 11 are opposite. If we put negative number, put negative sign in front of this negative number 11, then it's basically to find the inverse of negative 11, so which will give us positive 11. So that's different. Negative is positive. Here is not choose absolute value. Here is the parenthesis, round brackets, and here is vertical line. That's different. Okay, again, put negative in front of any number is to find the opposite of this number. Negative 11, you put negative in front of negative 11 means to find the opposite number, which is positive 11. So negative works in this way for the round brackets, not for the absolute value. We wanted to point out the difference. Now, look at question 7. Question 7 here is negative 24, choose the absolute value. We know the absolute value means the distance between negative 24 and 0. Distance has to be 0, has to be positive. So here, the distance between negative 24 and origin 0, the distance is 24. It's like here. The distance between negative 2 over 5 and origin 0 is positive. And then you choose negative. So here, the answer is 24. Now we are not done yet. We say we want to choose the opposite number of 24 because here is to find the additive inverse of opposite of what number of this number. So find the additive inverse or opposite of 24, because negative 24 you choose the absolute value, this value is actually 24. So the opposite number of 24 or opposite number of absolute value negative 24, of course, is negative 24. Because again, negative 24 choose the absolute value is 24. And the opposite number of 24 is negative. So the answer here is this one. The question just try to confuse you. All right. Now, here is to find the additive inverse or opposite. You know, 3/5, that's a positive number. And what is the opposite? Of course, the opposite number will be negative 3/5. You add negative 3/5 to the positive 3/5. You always get 0. Opposite number means when you add those two numbers together, you get 0. It's like positive 11, you add negative 11, so you got 0. All right, so that's the first 4 questions. Now, let's see the 1 minus 6. 1 minus 6 means what? Here is 0, here is 1. So you do is you first have 1 and then add a negative number. Negative number is 6, so you start from here, go back to the left direction 6 units. Previously, your number is here, then you go back 1, here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 units back, so you then get negative 5, because you're starting from where? From 1. Okay. So again, when you add two different numbers, when the signs are different, you always use big number minus the smaller number, and then consider the sign. The sign in this case, 6 is bigger, so you will choose negative. All right. Now, question 11. Question 11, here is negative 12 minus 13. When you do the subtraction, remember, we always do minus a number is to plus the opposite number. So it's like here, starting from negative 12, it's already on the left-hand side. Then you go another 13 units to the left. So it has to be negative 25. There are many different ways to consider that. When the signs are the same, you always do addition. And then, since the signs are the same, here both are negative. So you then choose negative. And here will be similar. Subtraction is always add the opposite number. So you can also consider his negative, like the one here. So then you have a positive. There are many different ways to consider that. Okay, here is subtraction, and here is minus, minus. Here is minus, minus, minus. They are different. Okay. So minus a number means add the opposite number. So here is minus, you do addition. An opposite number will be negative 5 will be 5. Means find the difference. So it's negative 10. Okay. Here again, negative 15 plus 5 is use the big number minus the smaller number, and then choose the sign. Since the big number has a negative, so you choose negative. So you're going to practice this a little bit. Now here is the same. Minus a number means plus the number of the opposite number. We change minus to plus and then find out the opposite. What's the opposite? As negative 0.89 is positive. Or you may consider negative is positive, since here is a round brackets. Again, not the absolute value. Okay, negative, you got a positive. Then it would be easier to add 0.96 plus 0.89. Okay, so in this case, we will choose this number, 1.85. For this number, negative 15 minus negative 5, we will choose this one. For negative 12 minus negative 13, we will get this one. And we have it down, this is negative 5. Choose this one. Okay? So, all right. Now, let's look at the last question. The last question, we were given that the starting temperature at 5 is negative 5 degrees Celsius. It's not Fahrenheit. They are different units. And then 4 hours later means it ends at negative 13 Celsius degree. And we want to find is the change. So the change, remember, you're always using the ending value, subtract the starting value. In this case, clearly 4 hours later, it was told that's negative 13. So you got to use these numbers, subtract negative 5. So is this will be the expression. Ending value, subtract starting value. When you want to find the difference or the change, is always use the ending value, negative 13, subtract, because that's change. You want to find the difference, then that's negative 15. Ending value, subtract starting value. Negative comes to be positive. And when you see the signs are different, you always do the subtraction. So 13 minus 5 is 8, but the sign depends on the big number. 13 is bigger, it was negative, so you put negative there. And here is the graph explanation. Starting at negative 5, ending at 13, so the direction it goes is from here going down. The temperature actually goes down, negative 8 units. So then you should have a negative 5 plus negative 8. It goes to negative 13. I didn't say that we have 8 degrees going up. It's actually going down, you see here. Negative 5 to negative 13. It gets even colder. If the number is change of the number is positive 8, the temperature goes higher. From negative 5, if it were 8 degrees positive, then you would get positive 3. From negative 5, 8 degrees to the positive, you got 3. But unfortunately, here it gets even colder. Okay, so starting at negative 5, goes down even colder, negative 13, and then we have a negative 8 is the amount of change because it goes to negative direction. Make -5, even colder goes to -13. So that's why we put -8. This is the why we need to do the arithmetic operation about positive, negative. Mathematician does not want to confuse you. Because there is a what? There is an application for the temperature right there. It does make sense. So practice more and you'll get it. I'll see you next time.